Thank you for joining us again on another smoke session.
What's up, sir?
I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
I'm your boy, Bobby Blackhand.
And we got...
Los on the cam, brother. Los on the cam. And Brother Braun in the background, what?
And we got a real special show for y'all tonight. So hopefully y'all are looking forward to this as much as we are looking forward to it, because I'm really excited to have our guests on this evening.
Yes.
We're gonna bring them in just a second. But before we get in, as usual, if y'all looking to find out what's going on with the Daily Smoke, please check out our website, www.thedailysmoke.com, THADailySmoke.com. And if you're interested in donating, want to help out the show, we appreciate if you hit up our Cash App, $TD Smoke. Hey, and if you can't donate anything, then like I always say, a like, share, and a subscribe is worth just as much to us as a donation. And of course, as always, keep watching. So thank y'all for joining us. As always, how you been doing, Bobby Blackhand?
Oh, just sweating my ass off other than that. I'm good.
Well, man, that's Texas. It's May. That's gonna happen. And it only gets worse from here.
Oh, that's why I'm standing inside with the AC. Screw this.
Man, I'm telling you, this heat already, dude. It's oppressive. It's oppressive. I hate this time of year. I really do. Like going into July and like August. And even though my birthday's in August, I can't. Oh.
You're a Leo?
No, I'm a Virgo.
Oh.
The superior the superior sign, please and thank you.
Word.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Living around the house. What's up?
Jealous. But anyway.
Please.
I thought you were supposed to be the audience, nigga.
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
My bad.
Thank you. Damn it.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. I'm not going to hold on for too much longer. I'm not going to make y'all wait. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk to our guest tonight. We got the creators of an independent comic book and what I dare say is a very interesting world called Bleakheaven. And I'd like to bring on our guests, the authors and writers for Bleakheaven. If y'all could introduce yourselves, please.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for having us on.
No
I'm
problem.
Stanley Bostwick. I'm, I guess, the main creator of Bleakheaven, kind of editor-in-chief.
Cool.
And we'll let Donald introduce himself first.
Hey, I'm Donald Roos. I'm the creator of Bert the Mothman back here. I'm kind of in charge of the youth section of Bleakhaven,
Okay.
more the younger generation. And then we have Alex over here. We'll let him take it away.
I'm also here. I'm just a writer, mostly in the background for now. We've got some stuff coming out.
I like how you say just a writer. Like that's a small thing to be. You don't give yourself credit, brother.
Gotta give yourself credit now.
So, okay. Now, I do want to touch on the fact that the way we met you guys, the way we found out about you guys was through Stand for the Silent.
Mm-hmm.
We did a show with them a while back, show with him really a while back. Mr. Smalley, and he's an incredible gentleman. That is really that's one of probably the strongest people I have ever met in my entire life. That man has strength that you can't sit back, you can't do nothing but sit back in awe of it. But having realized that y'all were affiliated with him, we definitely wanted to reach out to y'all. And then of course I got a chance to really look at y'all's work and read some of your comics and things like that. And I have to say, man, I was really impressed. You guys write a good story, and you have an interesting world in this Bleakheaven. I'm really kind of liking the scenery you've set. If y'all have had the chance to watch any of our episodes, I like SCPs. If y'all are familiar with those.
Yeah. We've been watching your show since you reached out to us. It's great. We love it.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun, and we're really grateful you guys let us come and BS with you on here.
Well, that's what it's all about. Really, I mean, we started this show by sitting around having conversations while we smoke and drink and do whatever we do. And so we decided to just sit, invite other people in. We figured if we was having so much fun with these conversations, everybody might enjoy it. So thank y'all for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Let's
Absolutely.
dive into
So,
this.
I got a question. It is Bleakhaven, not Bleakheaven.
Yeah, it's spelled heaven, but it's haven.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a thing that Donald warned me against.
We got THA instead of THE.
Uh-huh.
See?
Black people in Salt Lake City.
And he's like, "Here, what do you think?" I'm like, "Oh, my wife said that you misspelled the title of the comic." And then he's like, "No." He's like, "I've made my bed. I'm gonna sleep in it."
Wow.
It's well, there's a big reason that I call it Bleak Heaven, or it's Bleak Haven, because I mean, look at any city or state in America, it's all messed up, you know.
Right.
So, like Arkansas, that's not how you spell Arkansas, you know.
That's funny because my daughter always says, "Dad, are we in Arkansas?" Oh,
Yeah, it's Arkansas. And so that's really one of the reasons I made Bleak Haven sound that way, but it's Bleak Heaven because well, there's a lore reason, and it's just that oxymoron is what the comics were based on. It's Bleak Heaven, you know.
Right. Okay, I get you.
So the kind of the theme that all of our stories are based on
Mm-hmm.
is finding the light in the darkness.
Right.
Because the world we live in is really an oxymoron, right? Because there's so much garbage around us. There's so much darkness and hate and anger and like misfortune. But at the same time, there's so much wonderful things all around us. You know, like family, fun times with friends. You guys know all about that, right?
Mhm.
Definitely. Definitely.
And so the idea behind Bleak Heaven is that these characters are going to go through really difficult and interesting adventures, and through that, they're going to find the good in the bad. So whether it's a couple of heroes in like a crazy city, or a couple of kids in the woods with crazy monsters, like you're always going to have that theme of coming out on top of difficult situations. And so one, it was a cool name, and then two, it really fit the concept we were going for.
Right. Okay. Because if I'm being honest, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, that's Bleak Heaven, right? And then, but then I got a chance to talk to you, and then after watching some of your videos on YouTube, which, by the way, folks, they do have some audio type books that are up on YouTube. So if y'all want to get like a chance to maybe check that out, I'm telling you, it's a really interesting kind of world. So please be sure and check that out. But I had a chance to listen to it, and I realized that, you know, during the reading, he was saying Bleak Haven, and I was like, well, it's spelled heaven.
I told you that yesterday. I kept saying heaven. I'm like, no, it's haven. I'm like,
Okay, but I wasn't crazy. It was spelled heaven. I was just, it's pronounced haven. So I'm just acknowledging that I'm still sane, or at least what passes for sane nowadays.
Yeah, and that's okay. And we can talk a little bit about that audio book too, if you want. That's called The Tome of Daniel Blake. We have an image for it. That's number 13.
Number 15?
13.
What was it?
He said 13.
13?
Yeah.
Okay, the Tomb of Daniel Blake. Is that correct?
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. So Tomb of Daniel Blake. Now I did get a chance to hear the. I think the link that you sent was. It was the. Dang it! I can't remember the title of it now, but it was. It was the story where the guy and his partner were going into that cave, and they found like the mutated creatures.
Yeah, that's the first episode.
Okay, so that was the first episode. I thought so.
So the link I sent you was the playlist, and I think that had the first episode in there.
Yeah,
So-
I got to listen to the first one and part of the second one.
Well, what did you think? I guess before we talk about it.
I enjoyed it, man. That's what I was saying before. Is like I said, I enjoy SCPs, and so that creepy kind of dark world that really appealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all do a good job of creating that mood, you know, with the way y'all tell a story. So I really found that entertaining. Yeah, that was really good, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and that's something that we do to make more content. It's a little bit easier to write that story and then kind of quickly produce it ourselves,
Right.
rather than doing comic books. It's a fairly time-consuming and expensive process. So we're glad you enjoyed it, and we hope you can keep enjoying it. And it is connected to the comic books.
Okay.
So it takes place. So the main story, it's kind of a story within a story, right? So
Okay.
there's the guy reading the podcast. He's actually in the city of Bleakhaven, so there's a little bit of a story element there. And then the book itself was written in about the 1920s, and Alex and I actually came up with that concept together, and my wife as well. That's a story we made together and have been working on for quite a while, just to bulk out the history of Bleakhaven and to have some fun monsters and stuff. I also really wanted a hero that didn't have any superpowers, and that's who Daniel Blake is.
Okay. I dig that. Yeah, because all he had was his shotgun.
You need more.
He was hitting this monster with the buckshot, man. And I'm telling you, I could hear the shots in my head. It was pretty good. It was a good story. I definitely plan on going back and listening to some more of that playlist, because I want to hear where this goes.
I want to get
Yeah,
into these characters.
we've got a lot planned. Like I said, Alex came up with the concept itself, so he can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, a lot like you were saying with the SCPs and stuff.
Yeah,
I just love that stuff. And
it's the best, right?
Back in time, 1920s. It's a great setting. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun because that's when science and the paranormal were really mixed together. You couldn't really tell the difference at the time.
Yeah.
And so he's a parapsychologist, monster hunter, ghost hunter sort of thing, and everybody thinks he's a quack, but he's like the only one that's actually on the tail of like an actual conspiracy.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
And his assistant Rainey, I don't want to leave her out because she's like the heart of the story. She doesn't believe in anything paranormal, so
Except for crystals. She's got to have her crystals.
yeah, she believes in crystal magic.
Crystals and flasks, of course.
Yeah.
She definitely believes in flasks. I appreciated that right off the bat. Okay, so now this is just one of the stories that you guys have going on right now. So you have the Tome of Daniel Blake, but I did want to talk about Credence.
Yeah, that's the big one. So Credence started. I guess I'll give you some background of why we're doing this in the first place. So I came up with a story idea, and then I brought that to my wife Cassie and Alex and another friend, and we kind of built it together.
Okay.
And we eventually, I was like, this could be a really cool TV show, and that's where the vision started, was this TV show. And then, so I was putting together like a production Bible. My background's in film and all this sort of stuff, and that was really going nowhere. So I'm like, we got to do something.
Right.
So that's when we verged into comic books, because it's already superheroes, comic book aesthetic sort of thing. So I got my first couple books going, and then I'm thinking, we have a lot of potential for other stories. Because like you said, we had created this vast world, and I really want to save that other story for the TV show. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I should ask Donald to write a kid's book, a young adult book, because he'd been talking to me about wanting to do something like that, wanting to write, wanting to do stuff for kids. So I'm like, I should ask him. And then I was thinking, no, he's got a family and a career, and I don't want to set him astray with my wild dreams.
Well, what are friends for if they're not to pull you astray with their wild dreams?
How you think we got started?
Right?
So eventually I decided, I'll just ask him.
Yeah.
I think it's important. So I asked him, hey, I want you to write a book, a series that takes place within the universe of Bleakhaven, so not necessarily Bleakhaven, and then build up off that sort of idea, something for kids, because I think it's important for us to have something good for kids, because the main stuff is for adults and teenagers and that sort of thing.
Right.
And then Donald can take the story from here, I think.
Yeah, cool. So, to kind of expound on what he was talking about is my background is in education.
Okay.
But my career is actually in the restaurant world, because as I was finishing up my degree, I got a really good job doing what I was doing to get through college.
Mhm.
And we just had our first kid, and I was actually making more in my restaurant than I was going to be making as a school teacher. So I wanted to write to still be able to like connect with children and kind of offer something to benefit them and their journey.
Yeah.
And so he came to me, he's like, hey, write this story. And I'm like, cool. And we had no idea where we were going. So it took us about 2 years to come up with a concept of a giant Mothman helping some kids get through some issues. So the main story of Credence is going to be about 2 young boys trying to survive in the forest as they try to save an adult like scout leader who got turned into a monster with the help of Bert the Mothman.
He didn't turn into a monster with the help of Bert.
Right.
Just for clarification.
But the kids are going to be helped by Bert the Mothman.
And so the main idea of the story is that these kids start out hating each other. And there's a lot of themes about like bullying and respecting one another and just kind of finding common ground in different worlds.
Okay.
And so Cade calls me one day just out of the blue, and he was at Walmart.
Yeah.
And the Stand for the Silent people were outside, and they were asking for donations, kind of talking about the organization. And
I had no money.
You know what?
So I'm like, yeah, I appreciated what they were doing. I connected with that message of helping kids through bullying and suicidal thoughts and stuff. And so did my wife. We both were there at the same time. And so my wife was like, you need to message them and see if we can do something with the comic book, because we had done some charity events before. Cool. So I emailed Stand for the Silent because I couldn't find them anywhere in Utah. So I emailed them through the website and said, hey, I want to help out. Do we have an office? Do you guys have an office in Utah? And then Kirk messaged me immediately and said, no, we don't have any offices. Is there anything I can do to help you? And so we started talking, and basically we got on a meeting, and by the end of that meeting, we were dead set on doing Credence issue number 0, which would be the Stand for the Silent exclusive Bleakheaven project.
Wow.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this is where I called Donald out of the blue.
And he's like, hey, your story, the story we've been developing for like the last year and a half, fits all of the themes that we need for a comic book for this age and this demographic.
Right.
And so we knew that we wanted something with Bert the Mothman and in the universe, but it couldn't be with the same boys, because we needed a comic book that Stand for the Silent could distribute, and people didn't have to buy another comic book to know what happened in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it had to be one issue, and then it had to deal with all of these things. But the challenge from that moment was, how do you make a comic book that has all of your characters, sets up the story, deals with suicide, bullying, and depression,
Mm-hmm.
and you only have one issue. So an issue of comics is usually about 27 pages. And so you have to pack all this in, and you have to make it interesting and not preachy, right?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
My biggest requirement for this that it wasn't going to be an after-school special. I can't deny.
Got an extra company.
Hey, I used to like some of those after school
some of
specials, man. But I get what you're saying. You're trying to keep it to the point where it's entertaining, not preachy.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly. We're not here to tell kids what to do. We're here to help them kind of digest and understand these things. These are really difficult topics to talk about, especially for kids. And so we wanted to make this book really speak to them as kids and bring up these hard things in an interesting and compelling way through the story.
And we wanted to write a story where they could see themselves in the characters. Because our philosophy really was that kids know that bullying is wrong.
Right.
And at the end of the day, kids know that ending your life isn't the right path. But in the moment, something is so wrong or so powerful in your life that it's hard to override all of that. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give them a story that would stick with them, so in those moments they could have some token that gives them permission to choose the correct path. Because I think that's why I believe we love stories so much. Because we all have had that television show or that book or something where they showed us a way to live our life that was better than we previously thought.
Right.
And we accepted that message and we applied it in our lives. Like, one of my favorite shows is Naruto.
Yes.
Yeah. And the whole theme of that show is that even though everything's stacked against you, as long as you love the people around you and you think you can do it, you can achieve love and peace and success in your life. And that spoke to me on such a high level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I watched your guys' episode about Avatar, and Avatar: The Last Airbender does such a good job of explaining really adult, crazy, real world topics in a way that kids can understand it.
Exactly, touching on so many difficult themes and ideas, but at the same time approaching it from an angle where kids can really get to it. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Because kids aren't stupid. They can see all of this stuff going on in their life, but if you can give it to them in a way that they can process it, then it's easier for them to take that information and do the right thing later. And that's really what we're going for in this book. I know that was kind of a long, rambling rant, but I hope you guys
go
right ahead.
I'm applauding you, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because that is exactly the type of reason why we wanted to have y'all on the show, because this is the kind of things that I want people to understand. There is more than just storytelling than just entertainment. If you can tell a good story, if you can craft a good story, you can change someone's life. You know what I'm saying? When somebody else reads that story, listens to that story, you can make a difference in that person's life just by the creativity of your own mind. And that's a perfect example of what I believe this kind of entertainment is for. Because I was a kid who grew up reading comic books back in the day, and I saw myself in those characters, and those characters taught me that I could be more than what other people thought of me, or I could be better than even I thought I could be. So I totally 100% resonate with what you're saying, man. Thank you so much.
You know what? I want to say that when you were telling the story about how you got with Kurt, it's the same story I had. We went to go eat somewhere. Me and my wife, we came out. There was a girl standing there, and she stopped us. And when I heard what it was about, I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And my wife said, hey, that's a good show. Oh, you know what? Yeah. So I got her information, and then from there, we were able to get a hold of Kurt, and then we got him on and all that. But before that, when I went on the website and started reading that, man, that blew my mind.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that really messed. I'm like, 6-year-olds killing themselves? Wait.
Yeah, it's insane, and that's why we're doing this, partially because we have no money and we want to help. And we're incredibly grateful for Kirk. And if you want to throw up the cover, it's #1.
Yeah, no, it's been up there.
So it's we're really excited about this book. But Kirk has given like unbridled and possibly undeserved faith in us. Because he's just, whatever we do, we're like, hey, Kirk, what do you think of the monsters? Do you think it's too scary for kids? And he's like, no, kids have seen worse.
True. True.
And we're just so happy that he can see what we're trying to do, and he's so supportive and caring. Really, and Bert kind of has become based off of him because because he's what Bert was always meant to be, just someone who's so full of love and service that it's his main character attribute.
Well, and one cool thing about Bert is Bert is a big scary monster, right?
Right.
It just wants to do the right thing. And like, how many times in our lives do people misjudge us just by like how we look or like what situation we're in?
Yeah.
But like there's more to that person.
So okay. So now that we're talking about Bert, I have to ask, whose idea was it to come up with a Mothman? Like seriously? Mothman.
Okay. So that's actually kind of a fun story. So like I said, so I work in the restaurant industry, right?
Right.
And so in 2020, 2021, restaurants were insane because everybody quit and nobody was looking for jobs.
Right.
So I would be working like 90-hour weeks. I'd be like washing dishes till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And so all I would do is I would listen to podcasts.
And call me.
Right. And we were talking about stories. But something that we've talked about since the conception of Bleakheaven is North American mythology isn't really talked about in any media, and it's getting more popular. But Bigfoot is like the only North American creature people really talk about.
Right, true, very true.
All of the monsters and creatures in story are like from Europe or Japan. So you've got like kaiju, vampires, werewolves.
Zombies,
you know the
classic stuff.
Old world monsters. World monsters.
Yeah.
And so what we were trying to do is we wanted to look towards Native American mythology.
Okay.
The cryptids and stories throughout the whole United States and really America, because we've got a lot of Central American mythology, like Canadian Northern mythology. It's all in there.
And sorry to cut you off, but I would also expand that to other worlds' mythology, because there's so many really cool monsters throughout Africa and Australia and the Philippines, really everywhere in the world. Right. So in Bleakheaven, I've kind of just picked a lot of my favorites and adjusted them to fit the world. So, but Donald's book, Donald's right. We have a ton of North American mythology, both Native American and like early settler mythology, and and so Donald's really focused on the North American mythology, and his book's gonna be full of all kinds of awesome, crazy monsters.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I have one quick question.
We got Chupacabra in Puerto Rico. Chupacabra. Y'all know what that is. Chupacabra. That's
but I do have one quick question because oh dang it, Los, you made me forget my thought. Dang it, I had a question. Okay, if it comes back to me, I'll ask. But whatever. But honestly, though, I do love Mothman. First, I do love the idea of Mothman in general, because I was always a fan of that particular cryptid. You know, I remember being a kid reading a book about like different cryptids, and Mothman was one of those ones that really kind of scared me when I was a kid. So awesome choice in picking Mothman. But then on top of that, y'all made him a hero. And I thought that was just really cool, because I was like, okay, What? Mothman comes in to save the day?
Yeah, so that's the really interesting part, right? And so I was working in the restaurant for hours just listening to like podcasts and stories about these different cryptids, and Mothman kept popping up. And the cool thing about Mothman is every time you see Mothman, something bad happens, right?
Mm.
And I was thinking to myself, correlation isn't always causation. So let's look at Superman, for example. Superman's always where disaster is.
True.
So if something blows up and Superman's there, Superman wasn't there blowing something up. He was there trying to stop something from blowing up, right?
Right. Exactly.
I'm wondering, what if Mothman always gets blamed for these bad things because he's always trying to stop bad things, but every once in a while, bad things happen anyway.
Dude, I like the way you think, man.
Be on read time.
His brain makes good connections. Thank you, my man. I really appreciate your logic in these things, and the fact that you created this world. All of y'all really created this world, and you put so much thought behind these characters. Honestly, that's the thing to me that's most refreshing, because I see so many things out there nowadays where people are putting stuff out to be quick or to be first or to, just make a quick buck without actually putting thought behind it, putting impact into those characters. And it seems like you guys have really thought about this. From what I got a chance to experience myself, I was really impressed by the depth that y'all put into some of the storylines and characters. And I see now that I was not mistaken in that assessment, because you really have put the thought behind the character. So kudos to y'all, man.
Hey, we appreciate that, and that leads to like another one of my main points in my philosophy in writing.
Yeah,
is that there are two things that make a story. There's the premise, which is like, oh, it's a giant shark coming to eat everybody. That's the premise of the movie or story or whatever.
right.
And then on top of that, or underneath that, I should say, is what it's actually about. So our comic book Credence, the premise is a giant Mothman is saving children from monsters. But what it's really about is about kids coming to age, learning how to live with themselves, how to live with other people, and really how to make connections and understand the value of life.
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, it's about a character. Who came up with the character? I believe it's the Scullivan. Scullivan?
Yeah, that was me. Actually, we have this one.
5. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we actually have these. These are new. I don't know if you can see those very well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look.
That's
check it out.
dope.
Oh, that's cool.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's a cool
figures now.
That's Scullivan.
Yeah.
Scullivan.
Scullivan.
Am I saying that right?
What was that?
Yeah, that's right.
Scullivan?
Yeah, Sullivan.
Scullivan.
So he,
Scullivan.
and that's it's kind of a cruel joke. So so
Okay.
it's just a combination of the word skull and Sullivan, obviously. So yeah, he's one of my favorite characters, and really the premise behind him is, what if there was a guy who gets like these really cool superpowers?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's similar to Superman, not really that powerful, but basically, like, what if Superman got powers, but there were also horrible side effects? So that's why he like looks the way he does. Like, he's all deformed, and he's got the bone armor. He developed an exoskeleton as part of his superpowers. So he's like this big hideous monster. And I actually designed him when I came up with him, I was thinking he'd look a lot scarier, a lot more like a monster.
Okay.
And my head artist, when he did the concept, we actually went through a ton of designs on Scullivan. And when he came to the one we have now, he made him look a lot more heroic than I anticipated. But
Okay.
I really like how he looks.
Yeah, I think he's actually pretty cool, because
Especially with that bone armor. I like that.
the bone armor is cool. But I got to read one of the comics with him in it where he was fighting the giant boar in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Because he just went at like okay, clocking in. Let's go fight stuff in the graveyard.
That's kind of what it is, and it's and that goes back to my writing philosophy. What Skullivan's actually about is, what do you do with these burdens that have been thrust upon you? You know, like he can't live a normal life now. What is he gonna do about it?
Right.
He can sit around and mope. He can go be a bad guy, or he can try to make a positive difference in the world. And so throughout the series, he's gonna try to. He's figuring out how he can make the best impact possible.
Right.
All right, I have a question. Well, I want to know about the character. I don't know the name. I believe it's number 6. I believe.
Number 6. Let's see what it was.
The blue gentleman in the white suit.
Blue.
Mephistopheles. Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was saying. Mephistopheles.
yeah,
Mephistopheles.
that's not how you say that, Lo.
You know he from the ghetto.
Mephistopheles.
You know he from the ghetto. Let him make it.
I call him the Meph. I call him
Ghettos
the
of Puerto Rico, huh?
All right?
But yeah, okay. So this is your meth. Now you got me messing it up.
You too. You too. All y'all.
Park in the house.
Okay, Mephistopheles, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Cool. So yeah, tell us about him.
So, in this world, in Bleakhaven, I really meshed a lot of stuff I like. And in addition to superheroes and sci-fi, I really like the occult and fantasy. I think it's fun to learn about and learn stories about and all that sort of thing. So, Mephistopheles comes from a German play that I read in college called Faust.
Right.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right, Faust?
Yes, I read Faust. Yes. Yes.
It's good. It's awesome. And it's one of my favorite classic old-time stories.
Absolutely.
That's the origin of the devil made me do it.
Hey.
I've always been obsessed with and fascinated by the concept of Mephistopheles in that story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really just plucked him from the story and kind of put my spin on it, and then aged him up, or aged the world up to, modern day. And then that's kind of my interpretation of who Mephistopheles would be at this point in time within the context of the world we've created.
And explain like who Mephistopheles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mephistopheles is a demon, and I guess I kind of have a more unique kind of spin on what demons are in the Bleakhaven universe.
Okay.
But there's a big plot. In the main poster, you can kind of see the devil, the classic-looking devil guy. So Mephistopheles is a demon with supernatural powers that he can affect the physical world. So demons in this world can't really affect the physical world. They're not on the same plane of existence as humans. So none of them can affect the physical world, or they can affect it in different ways. The way Mephistopheles can affect it is if he gets basically permission from a mortal. So he strikes bargains. So that's his whole deal in this story. And
Right.
and if you read the second issue, that's an introduction to his kind of gimmick of where he'll go around being like, I'll do this thing for you if you do it for me. And it's always the wish, you're doing, you're never going to get what you really want in that situation. And another really important part to me about Mephistopheles is, that it's probably not going to end well. Like, you don't go to Mephistopheles and be like, hey, I want to make a deal. And he's not really secret about the fact that he's a bad guy,
Right.
He's like, he has this immense power and limitations, and so he kind of relies on that power to attract his victims rather than pretending to be something he's not.
He's that evil genie in a bottle, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna grant you 3 wishes, but they're all gonna turn out bad.
Exactly. You'll never know how it's going to turn out with Mephistopheles because he's always got another agenda. He's always pushing something else.
Now, is he in his own story, or is he a part of, uh, like the Scullivan story?
So these are all these stories in Welcome to Bleakhaven are interconnected.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's kind of like the Twilight Zone. So this is an anthology. So each Welcome to Bleakhaven book will cover a different character and a different aspect of the universe as an introduction. These are every single one of these stories are tangential to the main show that I will hopefully someday produce.
Hey man, I hear Adult Swim calling for sure.
That'd be awesome.
Number 7.
Hey, so then let's go down the line here, because number 7. Now this picture,
Yeah.
I had no frame of reference, but I gotta admit the artwork is amazing. I actually love this.
Yeah.
So it's
So
this, like a
that one-
phoenix?
Yeah, explain it.
So that one is an alternative cover, a variant cover we have for Welcome to Bleakhaven number 2, and I sent that to you guys because I thought that Rufus was going to be able to be on with us. He's one of our artists.
Okay.
And he did Welcome to Bleakhaven number 2. And so we did this for actually a guy called The Rogue Trader. You should look him up. He does comic book stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
And he sells comic books and everything. He's a great dude. So he came to us with another local comic book shop and asked us if we would do a variant cover for them of the first issue, the one that you guys read.
Nice. Okay.
So that's him in the corner. He's kind of screaming. That's his little avatar down there.
He's the guy holding his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then,
Okay. But the artwork on that is amazing. And you said that's the gentleman who couldn't join us, right?
Yeah, that's Rufus. He wasn't able to make it. He also did the other Mephistopheles image as well.
Okay.
Yes, because he did. Because I gave him a few options because we didn't really need to necessarily tell Welcome to Bleakhaven in order, and he chose the cult demon story.
That was
So,
because honestly, now when I did read that one, I really wanted to know the rest of that story, because that was an interesting just like place to stop. I'm like, no, wait, what's gonna happen?
And you will see it. That's actually in the show. So we have 2 seasons written already.
Okay.
And so that's one of the show, and then we get a kind of a glimpse of the main 3 characters at the end there. And those 3 characters are kind of like our
That's number
Justice League or Avengers sort of thing. Alex, do you want to talk about them a little bit since you helped so much with it?
So this is picture number 8.
Yeah,
Yeah, number 8. That's
Gotcha.
the main 3.
not 100% sure how much I'm supposed to go into it. So,
Just don't spoil it.
Spoiler alert.
so what you should see there is we've got this little alien guy who came from space, obviously.
Right.
He's kind of got some manipulation powers
You
involving.
can talk about his powers
Oh, okay.
a little bit more in detail. That's
Yeah,
fine.
you're good. So he involves like using life to make different stuff, right? So he'll take like maybe he's got a rat and he needs something that can fly, so he gives the rat some wings, you know? So he's kind of messing with that. And seeing as he's an alien, he doesn't really understand like human ways, so he's a little bit of an odd duck.
Well,
Okay.
he's odd for his own culture too. So he's got like this immense godlike power, but he's a really stupid 14-year-old.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
That is really funny. Oh my god.
This is why in the Bible Jesus skips from like 3 to like 32. you don't want a kid with these powers.
And he's not pretty good at it. Because he didn't pay attention in school and stuff. So he can do this stuff, but he's still learning. And a lot of times he doesn't pay attention. He has like ADHD.
Okay.
That's
funny.
Gotta love it.
Oh man, this is brilliant. Okay,
My number
so
9.
no, hold on, because we still got what? Okay, so there's the guy in the helmet. What's his what's his story?
So that's Erwin. Here in the main story, this is kind of his old man. So like old man Wolverine or Logan. I suppose.
Yeah, old man Logan.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where he's at. So he's about like 90 or so years old.
Or older.
Yeah. So he was actually, his history is he was born before World War II.
Okay.
And he kind of grew up and he was basically Captain America, but he was a Nazi. And then he realized he was on the wrong side. So he's been trying to make up for that ever since.
Wow. Okay.
His story.
Like a redemption.
Yeah, and we've got some cool stories with him. Like Alex said, it's old man Logan. In this story, he's like old and gruff and experienced, and he's a little bit of a cyborg at the same time.
Let's go.
So, sorry, 1 second. Okay. So in his Welcome to Bleakhaven story actually shows his turning, because one of the most interesting things about World War II, now we're going into history, so I told you we can talk about this all day.
Hey, everything.
Keep it going.
We on board. Let's go.
We with you.
So Alex is one of the most knowledgeable people I know about history in that time period, not just World War II, but the time period after World War II in Europe.
Okay.
And so, yeah, basically we were thinking, Alex came up with this character, this is his character. What if Captain America was basically born on the wrong side, and more Captain America's ideals, and what Captain America stood for is, Erwin's a good man, but he was put in that situation where everybody's a Nazi and everybody's being pulled down this horrific path.
Right.
And so that's what his Welcome to Bleakhaven issue, and it will be a full issue. It'll be, 20 some odd pages, not just, 10 like most of them. It is about his transition into becoming more of a superhero by turning against, he's trying to free some concentration camp survivors and help them escape, and he gets caught, and that's where he ends up with his superpowers in the first place.
Wow. Okay. That's
So and part of the idea, and stop me if I'm talking too much.
Go.
In World War II, like Germany, right? Like there were a lot of crazy bad people, but a lot of the people on the wrong side, they were just on the wrong side,
They didn't know.
And so like everyone during World War II was a Nazi, and then the war ended, and then suddenly nobody was a Nazi.
Yeah, everybody was like,
That's true.
that is a very good point.
True.
That is a very good point.
That's true.
All those Nazis just disappeared into thin air.
They all went to Argentina.
Right?
But those people had to live with what happened for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I love about this character, because I didn't have anything to do with this character, but I'm a huge fan. The thing about this character is he helped. He didn't necessarily do all of the awful things that the Nazis did, but he helped facilitate it. He didn't actively stop it. And so
Not until it was way too late.
Right. Until it had already all happened. So now he's trying to redeem himself, and again, stop me, but at the beginning of his journey, he kind of does it in the wrong way.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Alex is actually writing a series about Erwin, which is Erwin kind of back in his prime, and how he got to start doing the superhero business.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and yeah, that was kind of the idea, is looking for redemption for this stuff that he's done, but also coming from that background, not knowing how to do that, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. How do you?
do you take revenge on the people who did that, or do you help people? How do you work through that as a person? And so, taking that as a journey, I thought would be really interesting, especially with kind of the multi-generational aspect of it.
Definitely. Okay, so I have to ask about the young lady in the blue as well.
So
No,
her name
picture,
is
same picture.
Harmony, and her superhero name is the Siren.
Okay.
And she is, I would say, the main protagonist of this story, of the main story, because she's kind of the character that we'll latch on to. So she's a superhero, but she's just living in Bleakhaven. She's just a young woman living in Bleakhaven who is thrown into this mess with an alien and an old man.
Okay.
But now wait, she's carrying a violin in the picture.
And she comes from a place where she's been living completely on her own, not been able to trust anyone. Because in Bleakhaven, it's overrun with crime. Everything's corrupt. You can't trust anyone.
Wow. Okay.
And so she doesn't trust anyone. And this is a story about her learning how to trust a few people around her and learning what to trust and who to trust, because it backfires a lot.
Of course.
And I'm really excited about her character in particular. And she's, without giving too much away, her superpowers involve music and sound. So she can basically manipulate sound waves. It's basically her superpower, and that's why she has a violin. Is she'll use that to fight or to help calm people down, whatever the situation applies. And honestly, I think she has one of the most powerful superpowers, and that's aside from the physical vibration manipulation, she can affect people's emotions.
Wow. Okay.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music is powerful.
Yeah.
That does that.
Music is powerful. Okay.
Interesting.
So then let's take us down to what, number 9?
Yeah, let's see, number 9. All right, so that's the cover of Welcome to Bleakhaven, number 3, the next issue that should be coming out this year.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think it speaks for itself.
I don't know what that does.
Like, there is a lot going on in this cover, man. There is a lot happening, because this thing with the doll face, but the skull on the inside, but the insectoid looking kind of legs and wiriness. I'm sensing nightmare fuel.
Yeah. So this one's gonna be much more of a horror comic.
Gee, you think?
And like the other two, it is tangential to the main story.
Right.
As we get more comic books out, you'll be able to see common threads. There's common locations. We get more context for character. You get a little bit of context for what happened to Skullivan in this one, even though he's not in the book.
Okay.
Okay.
He's referenced. So this book is basically about 2 mercenaries who were hired by the Dragons, who are the local gang. So they're the crime lords, right?
Okay.
And so that's who the guy in the background there is. That's the Dragon. He's the crime boss of Bleakhaven.
Okay. Is he actually a dragon?
Yeah. What's that?
Is he actually a dragon?
No, he's a dude. Yeah, it's kind of like a Black Mask sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is and we actually have the prop of it as well. So
That's
silly.
pretty cool.
But this book really highlights the gang aspect, because that's where the other set of villains are going to come from, is this gang. And so you got the demons and you got the gangsters sort of feel, if that makes sense. So kind of like a Kingpin or a Black Mask sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so the book is about 2 individuals that work together for the gangsters, and they're hunting down some monsters. That's what this book is about. And as you can see, that's one of the monsters.
Yeah, that is horrifying.
Well, and talk about the inspiration parts. That's cool.
So when writing this book, I wanted to highlight basically how these characters felt about children, more or less. And so I immediately thought of the Black-Eyed Kids, if you've ever heard of that urban legend.
Yeah, the Black-Eyed Kids, okay.
Yeah, so that's where the idea comes from. And I'm like, that's a little bit too on the nose if we do Black-Eyed Kids, and I'd like something more horrific and terrifying.
You're not scary enough.
Yeah, you're not scary enough.
Right.
And so I instantly thought back to a sculpture that our head artist had done years ago. And he had like a cat skull on top of a box with a porcelain doll face connected by wires that kind of covered it a little bit. And it was creepy as heck. And
right?
So I decided that would be a really cool monster. So the basic premise is these beings are kind of like the Black-Eyed Children, where they ask people for help, or they lure people down an alleyway or into the woods or wherever.
Okay.
And then when they get them alone, the porcelain or skin or whatever kind of peels back, revealing the skull, and they can elongate their bodies and then eat.
That's horrifying.
Damn. Okay. Talk about I was right. Nightmare fuel.
I hate dogs, by the way.
Oh damn, that's bad. And so the guy on here with the double blades, is he like a hero type character, or is that one of the mercenaries?
So he's one of the villains. He's kind of like
villain.
a Craven the Hunter type.
Okay. You know what? And when I looked at that, I was getting Craven the Hunter vibe. So yeah, that's interesting that you made that reference.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, that's kind of his inspiration. He's a little bit more than that. The two characters, his partner, I kind of based them off of George and Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Right.
So kind of not a comic book reference, but so kind of him and Craven the Hunter sort of thing. Like he is a hunter, and I've always liked that kind of archetype.
Okay. Now, guys, and I hate to do it, but we're running short on time. So what I'd like to do before we sign off, because the artwork that you sent us was awesome. So I'd like to get a chance to show the rest of it if we can. Let's go through the rest of those pictures real quick, just because I'd like our audience to get a chance to see what they'd be looking at when they check out Bleakheaven. So if we could go to number what is that, number 10?
Number 10. That's issue number 4. Number 4. So that'll be coming out with the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is an alternative cover, also done by Rufus, the same artist that did the one with the lady and the bird monster.
Nice. Okay.
And this is I'll try to be quick. This is our mad scientist archetype. So his name is Bo, and he's kind of like a hipster mad scientist.
I get Frankenstein vibes from Soul Leader.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, but he drinks like soy lattes.
Yeah, well, no, he's not healthy. He's not healthy. It's always like a Frazzle or an Icy or something. That's what he drinks.
All right.
Move on to number 11.
All right, and number 11 then?
I gotta know what this is.
This is
With the dog.
Okay, so this is our wild card villain. This is Jack, or Jack in the Box, as he likes to be called. So
I like that name.
He's kind of my version of the Joker. He's like, if I got a chance to make a version of the Joker all by myself, this is basically what he would be.
Okay.
And it plays up more to that nihilistic side. It's like he has a moral compass, he has a conscience, but he chooses to ignore it because he's fairly nihilistic. He's trying to go all in on that nihilistic mentality. He's a little bit sadistic, but at the same time he does feel guilty, he tries to hold it back, though, if that makes sense. So he's just trying to find entertainment in life.
Gotcha.
But he's based off of, the evil to be evil kind of villains.
Okay.
And what that might actually look like in real life.
Okay.
Move on to number 11.
And then, obviously, that's a spider wolf.
A spider wolf.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Spider?
look at it. We got tons of legs, all them eyes and shit. That picture is crazy right there.
God damn.
Yeah, and they have, like, venom, and they spin webs. This is actually a spider wolf on my shirt as well.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah.
Cool.
I want one.
Yeah, so, and the artist that did this and the cover of Welcome to Bleakhaven #3, and actually all the inking for Credence, is Walden Wong. And you guys should look him up. He's a really cool dude. He has been working with Marvel and DC since the 90s. I think one of the biggest, or the biggest thing that I can think of that comes to my mind is he did the inks on Red Sun, Superman Red Sun.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he does a lot of stuff for Marvel and DC, like Spider-Man, Justice League, all that stuff. So yeah, you guys should check him out, and he's a cool dude. He'd probably come on here and talk to you guys. He's a cool dude.
Okay.
Thank you for the word. I would definitely look into that. So we got what is it? Number 13?
12.
12.
12. I'm sorry.
Well,
Knox. King of
no trouble. So this is another book that we're working on. This is one my wife is actually writing. It's called Marks, and it's so where Credence is heavy in the mythology and stuff, this is more heavy in science fiction and kind of crime thriller sort of stuff.
Okay. Okay. So
So
for the
Mark
science
is-
nerds.
Yeah.
What was that?
For the science nerds.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's more actiony. She also works for a crime boss, but a different one on the other side of the country. She lives in basically Bleakhaven's version of Seattle.
Okay.
And she's really cool because you guys will have to read that book.
Right.
I kind of blanked it, but she's got some cool side characters coming in, and she deals with one of our kind of main evil corporations. There's 2 we have so far.
Mhm.
So she deals with a main evil corporation called Yellow Jacket, which is like a security for ultra rich people.
Okay.
So they make superhumans to be bodyguards and security guards.
Oh, I'll sign up.
So yeah, you get some interesting superpowers.
So now we already did talk about the Tome of Daniel Blake.
Yep.
And then
It's good.
now please explain the picture with the American flag.
With Alex's alter ego. Alex, why don't you go ahead and take the floor on this one?
So I think the easiest way to explain this is, have y'all ever listened to the radio in GTA?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we
That
do.
Yes.
guy is. This is Bleakhaven's J. Jonah Jameson. He's out there spitting what he thinks is the facts. But maybe they're not. So he's kind of our
He's one of Bleakhaven's greatest villains.
conspiracy nut.
So he's the Alex Jones of Bleakhaven.
Absolutely.
That's what we kind of came up with. And he's actually connected with the Tome of Daniel Blake. That's how we got the idea for it.
Okay.
So in one of the episodes for the Tome of Daniel Blake, we had Red X. He's another YouTuber. He does like neckbeard content, if you're familiar with any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
So he agreed to come on, and he's a cool dude. So he played a character doing an interview on the Tome of Daniel Blake. So we wanted the other side of the coin. So he was like the establishment douchebag, so we needed the anti-establishment douchebag, and that's where Scott Goodman comes in.
Okay.
And they've just had a lot of fun with it. Like they kind of latched onto it and let it go. So there's a lot of videos of Scott Goodman, and Alex
You wanna
just
give a
does a
taste?
hilarious job.
Well, Alex will give you a quick taste
I'll
of
do
who
the
Alex
voice.
is. Yeah.
You gotta give it a second, then kind of get into character, and then you just come out with the voice, and he's really a radio personality. So we went for that big talk show energy that he
Right.
had when he's just spitting craziness.
That's funny. That's absolutely hilarious.
Dude, I love it.
That is
I
absolutely
freaking love it.
hilarious.
This is brilliant.
too much confidence.
Absolutely.
Oh
Yep.
man.
Let's
Okay.
go on
And
to
then
Sinister
let's
City.
go to Emberwood.
Then number 15. Did we do 15?
No, 15 is the Truth Watch.
Oh yeah. So
Oh,
that's
Truth Watch. I'm sorry.
that's the logo for his show.
Oh, so that's because I see it with Scott Goodman down at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. That's his logo.
All right.
All right. And so
You guys
then
are also
Emberwood.
welcome on that show if you guys want to appear as a guest. We are making it a regular show. We have one full episode, 1 hour long episode up right now. We're gonna make more. We also have clips up on our YouTube channel.
Hey man, we might have to have him call in on a TGIF
Oh yeah,
character.
we might. Hey, y'all might be able to do that. Have your Scott Goodman call into our Friday show where Los is doing his thing. So I think
that's live.
yeah, and that's a live show. So I think that might be a perfect fit.
All right. Amberwood. Explain this to me real quick.
Emberwood. Okay, so Emberwood, just a quick overview. This is still in development, but we are big nerds, if you couldn't tell by this point. And one of our favorite things is Dungeons and Dragons. And so we wanted to do a tabletop RPG set within the universe of Bleakheaven.
Okay.
And that's what Emberwood is. And right there in that image is one of the main villains in Emberwood. And so I don't want to give too much away, but it actually starts off in a Yellow Jacket facility, since we're talking about that anyway. So this is Bleakhaven, Sister City, Emberwood is just a way we want people to be able to connect with these stories even more and feel like they're even more a part of this universe.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the
then
last picture.
that last image.
Two young.
Oh, that's our t-shirts.
Fun fact: that alley smelled like urine. Wait, about standing in that alley for that picture.
Oh my gosh! And AJ, the girl there, she like was taking direction, whatever. I'm pretty sure she like sat in piss at one point in time, because she like hopped up on a ledge in the alleyway, and it was I mean, it captured our feel. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show off the t-shirts. These are also variants of the t-shirts. We got our own clothes and mugs, and you can buy a little bit of Scott Goodman merch. The Nard Guards underwear system.
Nard Guards.
Yeah, Alex, do a quick pitch of the Nard Guards. Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to have the face of someone on the crotch of your underwear? Yeah, you can. Just if you ever want that.
Scott Goodman guarding your most sensitive area.
Okay. Well, guys,
Gentlemen.
No psychic vampire attacks while wearing these Nard Guards.
well, look. Since we have to wrap this up now, and it's been a real pleasure talking with you guys. Like,
Yes.
can you please give out your website, anything that y'all might have going on that you might want to give a shout out about before we wrap it up?
Yeah, you go to bleakhaven.com to learn more about us. We got a ton of stuff on YouTube and our social medias. Bleakhaven, if you spell it like Bleakheaven and comics, you'll find us. Just Google us or look at us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All that stuff is there. All of Scott Goodman and all of the Tome of Daniel Blake and a bunch of other stuff are up on our YouTube channel as well.
And
then look out for Credence issue 0 should be coming out in June.
Okay.
That's in association with Stand for the Silent and Kirk that we talked about, and that's all going to them on that issue. All of the proceeds going to Stand for the Silent, and we really just want to get the word out.
Yeah. And one more quick announcement on that. We're actually going to be doing a sort of motion comic video for kids who can't get their hands on the book.
Okay.
Really? Wow, that's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure we stay in touch.
Yeah, because when that comes out, we definitely want to help you push it.
Yeah, no, we can continue to grow together, because I'm this has been interesting. I love this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
These guys know what they're doing. I hope to see y'all on Adult Swim when y'all see us on Netflix.
We'd love to keep collaborating. If you guys want us back on, we can still talk.
Definitely. We plan on keeping in touch. Look, now you've been on the show, you family now, so
Right.
don't worry about it. We'll find a way to work with y'all. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. I want to say it's been a real pleasure getting to talk to you guys. You guys really do have an interesting world that y'all are creating, and I appreciate the thought and effort that y'all are putting into it.
Yes.
Man, thank y'all so much for coming on and joining us and sharing your little corner of the creative world with our audience. So we really appreciate that.
Yes.
As always, if y'all want to check us out, check out the website, www.dailysmoke.com. Check out check out the Cash App, $TD Smoke. Look, that's how you know the weed was good. But at the same time, we're also going to put up a link for their website as well. So if you want to check them out, we're going to have a link up for y'all so y'all can go check them out as well. But thank y'all again for joining us, the whole team at Bleakheaven. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for joining us on another smoke session. I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
I'm your boy Blackhand.
Brother Los on the cam.
And you know me.
And the guys from Bleakheaven.
And the guys from Bleakheaven. And this is the smoke session, and we are out. Peace.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you so much, brother.
Weed
Smoke
time.
session forever.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean,
Yeah.
stay on the phone with us. They can the video. They can go ahead out of that unless that's the same.
Hey!
Yeah, y'all still with us?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're here.